To start the second half of the season, the Cardinals play 18 of 23 away from Busch Stadium. After a win last night, the Cardinals are 1-1 on their current road trip. We're in San Diego, California. Another beautiful afternoon on the West Coast. After today, the Cardinals head to Los Angeles. A big crowd on hand. Cards and Padres in Game 3 this afternoon. With Al Rabowski, my name is Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals Baseball here on WB11. We'll start with telling you that J.D. Drew is in the lineup. He'll play right field, and that should be a boost to this lineup.
Well, it should be, because he has had some success. He's got a pair of home runs and only 8 at-bats against today's starter. And so I think we need to get this thing going right in the right direction. Last night was a big plus to get the win, but we also have to get a win for Bud Smith.
Well, last night it was certainly a big win for the Cardinals, and let's hope Bud Smith can build upon that. His ERA is over 7, and the last time he was here at the Q, it was a no-hitter for Bud.
Well, no-hitter in the same pitching matchup. Bobby Jones against Bud Smith, and of course Morero caught that no-hitter, and he's going to be in the lineup here today. But since that no-hitter, Bud Smith has been roughed up by the Padres.
Well, he is 0-5 this season. What's the key for Bud to get back on track?
Well, I think he's got to get ahead in the count. He's got to make quality pitches. He really has to spot his fastball, and particularly maybe inside a little bit. But his bread and butter pitch is that changeup. He has to have consistency with that. Down the way, mix up enough curveballs coming in on the right-handed batter.
So Bud Smith looks for his first victory this afternoon. He'll go head-to-head with Bobby Jones. Well, the media was on the bus. They're set to go. There's Al. Get that camera out of my face. He's calmed down. He's ready. Jim Jackson has his coat. He's ready. Cardinals baseball's next. Cardinals baseball on WB11 is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Cardinals on WB11. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Center, St. Louis's #1 choice for tires and automotive service. And by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares. Well, the Cardinals are 1-1 since the All-Star break, and winners of 6 of their last 9 games as we welcome you back to San Diego. Albert Pujols and the Redbirds are ready to go. So is Bud Smith, who is 0-5 against Bobby Jones, who is 5-4. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Cardinals. Vina to lead it off, followed by Polanco, Edmonds, Pujols, Tino, Drew, Renteria. 1 for 4 with a key double last night was Edgar. Morero's behind the plate. Bud Smith is on the mound. He'll bat 9th. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. A look at the San Diego defense. Ryan Klesko is the first baseman. Julius Matos is at second. Phil Nevin is the third baseman. Davey Cruz is the shortstop. Former Cardinal Ron Gant is in left. Mark Kotsay, 24-year-old center fielder, gets the start in center this afternoon. Brian Buchanan is in right. And behind the plate, it's Wiki Gonzalez for San Diego. Our Chrysler Jeep starter is Bobby Jones, and Jones this year is 5-4, like we mentioned now.
32 years of age. He's been on the disabled list 2 different times, just coming off the second time to make this start here today. Very slow, methodical worker. And San Diego has won 7 of Bobby's last 11 starts this year. But they've dropped 23 of his last 33 assignments last year.
Real key start for that man, the left-hander Bud Smith. Last time we were here and Bud pitched, it was a no-hitter, and he matched up against this right-hander, Bobby Jones. Something to watch out with Jones is he owns a first-inning ERA of 14.72. 11 innings pitched and 18 earned runs coming in the first inning. That's not Bud Smith, but Bobby Jones, his numbers. And after that, he has an ERA of 3.40. So if he can get through the first, he settles down a little bit.
Settles down, and hopefully the Cardinals can get that lead.
Inside the Numbers brought to you by Bank of America. Cardinals against the National League West Division. Of course, they'll face the Dodgers tomorrow. They played 9 of 14 straight games, and the record is 6-3 Monday and Tuesday at LA. Wednesday and Thursday against San Francisco. That'll be the first meeting against Bonds and the Giants. Bank of America and Schnucks provide those numbers.
The Cardinals are going to enjoy that 36-hour homestand. Night game, day game, take off, go to Pittsburgh for the weekend, and then on to the West Coast.
Vina, a swing and a miss at 2:07 here in San Diego. That doesn't make much sense to head out east to play Pittsburgh for 3 after being home less than 48 hours. And then heading back out west for 4 against San Francisco.
Well, things used to be so simple.
Bina trying to bunt his way on, and he lines out to Matos, the second baseman.
Teams used to come to the West Coast, play all three teams. You know, San Francisco, L.A., and San Diego, and then you go back.
Which makes
sense.
A lot of sense. Not the case anymore, though. Unbalanced schedule has kind of messed that up. Among other things, here's Polanco hitting .290 on the year, 5 home runs, and 26 RBIs. He's hit safely in 24 of his last 28 games. And he hits this into center. Kotze going back in front of the track, and he has it. Placido gave it a ride, and the ball will travel much better in day games here in San Diego than at night, as you might expect with that cool breeze coming in from the ocean. But you still won't see the ball travel all that well.
Well, still atypical weather here in San Diego with a humid day. Great overall weather, but usually it's not this humid.
For us, it's perfect. For the people from San Diego and California, this area, it is hot and humid, but it is a beautiful day on the West Coast. Here's Jim Edmonds, among the league leaders in batting average, slugging percentage, and on-base percentage. He's 3 for 7 in this series, and 4 for his last 10. Bobby Jones, you can watch him with a sundial. He takes his time, and as Al told you, very, very methodical.
And yet, the Cardinals have not let him get into trouble. Normally, it was very deep into counts, and Bina and Polanco were retired very quickly.
In his first Padres season a year ago, he was 8-19 with a 5.12 ERA and 33 starts. Did not miss a start all year long as Edmonds hits that off his foot.
You can understand why last season he allowed the most unearned runs, 26 unearned runs, with so many errors committed behind him. This year defense has been much better. Only 2 errors in his 11 starts. Last year the defense committed 41 errors in 33 starts for a big league high of 26 unearned runs.
The 1-2 is fouled back off the bat of Jim Edmonds.
Booker is Bochy's pitching coach. Booker on the left, Bochy there with the non-Oakley sunglasses. They've had so many injuries out here. Even Bruce Bochy's son broke his arm last week, and Klesko said, "You've been hanging around the team too much."
They've had guys that they didn't even envision in their system being here. Edmonds jumps on it, hits a mile high. Deep right center field. That has a chance, and it's off the wall. Edmonds will trot around second and head into third base with a triple. That almost got out.
Absolutely misplayed by the big right fielder.
Brian Buchanan.
Yeah, Buchanan came over from Minnesota, and so he's making his first National League start today, and he just absolutely misplays this ball. High towering fly ball. He just kind of drifted on it. Of course, you might also say the center fielder Kotze should have been more into that right center.
By his reaction,
he didn't think he had it at all. And there you see, drifting back on it, that ball got between his glove and the wall. So, but I read the same body language as you did, Dan. You see the full extension there, but then he drops his head as if he popped it up. And as you very well documented, ball carries much better during the day in California than it does at night.
Here's Pujols and an RBI opportunity. Bruce Bochy in this series has elected not to deal with Pujols at all. He came in to the series on Friday night, 9 career games and 6 home runs. But he's 0 for 5 with 3 passes that have been intentional in this series.
It's one of those situations too, though, when you have a pitcher who struggles so much in the first inning, you're a little leery of having him pitch around someone, because he has a tendency that make instead of 1 or 2 runs, there could be a much bigger number.
Right. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs, and Edmonds at third. Home plate umpire, by the way, is C.B. Buckner. He was at the center of a storm with the Cardinals last night as the first base umpire. Mark Carlson, John Hirschbeck, and Wally Bell out in the field.
Talked to Tino about that ejection last night.
Did he believe it was warranted?
Oh, absolutely not.
Pounded towards short. Easy play for Cruz. And Pujols is 0 for 6 in this series after the All-Star break, and he strands Edmonds at third. Edmonds with a 2-out triple, but the Cardinals can't bring him in. No score. There's Bruce Bochy. He was the manager of the year in '96 when the Cardinals hooked up with the Padres in postseason play, and again in '98 when his team got to the World Series. Here's a look at his lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Kotsay will lead it off, followed by Cruz, Nevin, Klesko, then Gant, Buchanan, Gonzalez, Matos, and Jones, the pitcher. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Here's the Cardinals defense behind Bud Smith. Tino Martinez back in there after the ejection last night at first. Vania's at second. Placido Polanco at third. Renteria the shortstop. Albert Pujols in left. Jim Edmonds is in center. Good to see J.D. Drew back in the starting lineup. He's in right. Eli Marrero is behind the plate. And Bud Smith is the pitcher. A record of 0-5 with an ERA of 7.18. And the first pitch is a strike from Bud. And no doubt about it, Al, this is a very, very important and big start personally for Bud Smith.
Well, it really is. I mean, he's a little bit embarrassed to not have a win for a first place club. And he's up against a club that he no-hit last year, but yet they have a lot of right-handed batters that hit left-handed pitching very well. Left-handed swingers are batting .324 against Bud. Right-handers .371. So he's got to put a stop to that.
On 0-2, Kotsay lines it foul. I've seen Kotsay in the second spot in the order and also in the fifth, and now he's a leadoff man this season. For Bud Smith, a look at his numbers brought to you by your local Chrysler Jeep dealers. Opponents hitting .359, as Al just told you. And this is not the same pitcher that we saw at the end of last season. Good pitch there, didn't get the call. 1-2.
Bud is not as confident as he was last year when he was 6-3, including that no-hitter. He's lost his last 6 decisions going back to last season. So time to turn things around. Dave Duncan really questioned how much Bud did in the offseason. If you remember, he started spring training where he was like 3-0 and was perfect on his first 3 starts. He didn't allow a run, but from that point on, he really struggled at the end of the spring. May have felt a little pressure with the, what was going to happen with Andy Benes. Really does not use his legs at all. Very, straight on his back leg. He's not that big or anything like this, but in order to help you with velocity, you use your legs a little bit, and he doesn't use his at all, so he's throwing all long.
Here's a 1-2. Breaking ball lifted into left field. That was a good battle between Kotsay and Bud Smith, and the center fielder won it with a base hit into left.
And the breaking ball was not real sharp, so he was able to adjust to it. Watch him recognize it. See, he stays back on it, and the ball's up there, and that's really helping out a hitter, giving him an opportunity to see the ball well. And that's your old classic hanger.
Here's Davy Cruz. First pitch, a fastball in the outside corner. Cruz is hitting .253. Bud Smith saw San Diego prior to the All-Star break, and the Cardinals had a big lead, but Bud couldn't even get 5 innings in. He only pitched 4 innings in that 11-5 victory over San Diego. So a no decision as Crudell got the win. Pulled the string there on a ball outside, and it's 0-2.
But you can see that pitch there, you typically are not going to get a major league hitter to go after a pitch that's 8 inches outside. That was the changeup. So fastball away, changeup away.
Bill Nevin is on deck. Cleanup man today is Klesko. The 0-2 pitch. Look at the Friar in the background.
I'd rather not.
He's bothering our pitcher out.
At least he doesn't have a cell phone.
That's true. That's what we see all the time when folks at home know they're on TV. 1-2 strikes on the shortstop, Davy Cruz.
But it is sort of a resemblance to some of the people we see back behind home plate.
You said it, not me. Ground ball, this could be 2. Renteria, Pena, and a double play to help out Bud here in the first. That's what he needed.
Absolutely what he needed, and it's what happens when you try and pull that off-speed pitch that's away from you. You roll over and you hit a little ground ball to shortstop if you're a right-handed batter, second base if you're a left-hander, and it usually means 2.
I said this start was so big for Bud Smith personally. And let's face it, the Cardinals need him out of necessity at this point to pitch in the major leagues, but they didn't have the problems with Bennis and obviously the death of Darryl Kyle, the injury to Woody Williams. I'm not so sure we'd see Bud Smith, and it's a big start for him to stay at this level depending on what Walt Jocketty is being courted about doing, and if he can bring in a pitcher or 2, Bud could be on his way out.
Well, you're 100% right, and that's why it's important for Bud Smith, Travis Smith, even, you know, Bennis. These next 3 starts are somewhat going to dictate the necessity for Walt to go out. Does he need to make one trade or multiple trades to acquire the pitching depth?
Woody Williams is now on the disabled list after Drew was activated before last night's game. And another decision is forthcoming for Tony La Russa and Walt by Tuesday when Andy Bennis will make the start against the Dodgers. He's yet to be activated.
I know the Kurt Slogel, who was joined by his boss, Buddy Bates, today. Buddy enjoyed a little longer vacation. Now they have some extra nameplates already made up. People would be surprised to know those names. A left-hander from the Mets, a left-hander from the Rockies, a right-hander from Cleveland. I mean, a left-hander from Cleveland. All 3 left-handers, come to think of it.
Base hit into left off the bat of Phil Nevin. Just muscled it out there in the hole past Renteria.
See, that's a good swing, and it shows you the strength of Phil Nevin. And that ball had a little good movement running up and in on him, but he was able to fight it off and push it to the left side for a base hit.
And it brings in Klesko, 4 for 7 with a double and an RBI and a run scored in this series. He had the game-winning hit the other night, game-winning RBI. So Bud will work from the stretch against the cleanup man. And Klesko fouls it back. This is our Ford Key matchup. Padres are 21-9 when Klesko records an RBI. 13-35 without. So this is our Ford Key matchup. And this guy is a key player and a key man to get out in this game.
Nevin's batting .364 against left-handers. Here, Klesko is batting .337 against left-handers. Ron Gant, .345 against left-handers. Kotze, who opened up with a base hit, .308. Bubble Trammell, .326.
And it's popped up left side, and that'll get out of play and into the seats. Klesko a year ago earned his first trip to the All-Star game. Just his second San Diego season. Cardinal fans here on the West Coast. As you mentioned, Al, when Klesko came up, really struggled against left-handed pitching, and many times would not start against left-handers, but that has changed.
He's made himself a good all-around hitter and worked hard on his defense also.
Misses low and in. Came to San Diego from Atlanta. It was second baseman Brett Boone, Gilvio Veras, and Reggie Sanders, Wally Joyner all went to the Braves in '99. Good pitch on a changeup, and he strikes out Ryan Klesko. He strands a man. We're in San Diego. Friar having some fun. No score after 1 inning of play. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light as we welcome you back to San Diego. For the great taste and won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Wednesday, 5:30 will come your way from Busch Stadium on Cardinals Tonight on Fox Sports Net at 5:30. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Pittsburgh. All those games will be televised as well. Tino Martinez, a base hit, line shot up the middle. He didn't have to wait for C.B. Buckner to call a ball or a strike. He just lined it up the middle.
Wasn't giving him a chance.
Those two have had a history, I understand.
Yeah, that's apparently we have been told that, but and which is hard to believe. And you asked me about Tino. Tino also, was a smart guy. And he goes, I wasn't going to put myself in a position to get being ejected in the first inning, over that type of a play. I was just questioning, was it fair over the bag? That's all he had to do was tell me that. And he started screaming at him. He said, and the only thing Tino said was, he kind of screamed back, okay, like, okay, it's over, and he got ejected.
The idea for an umpire is to keep the player in the game.
Absolutely.
Unless it gets out of hand. There's J.D. Drew. And it's 0-2. J.D. activated from the disabled list yesterday against San Diego. In his career, only 20 games played and a .224 batting mark.
He has 2 home runs. 3 for 8 with 2 home runs off of Bobby Jones. So you can understand why Tony wanted him in the lineup today. Medical staff is very concerned about J.D. from a running standpoint.
J.D. was a pinch hitter last night.
And he had to run hard and got an infield single. But, sitting out, and yesterday was the first day he was eligible, but he really did not do any running activities while he was out with that patella tendonitis.
One of the things he did do is J.D. on a changeup pops it up. That's made its way into fair ground, and a good play by Gonzalez on the pop-up for out number 1. One thing that J.D. did do, though, is take an awful lot of BP and work on mechanics in the cage. And he's 1 for 2 since coming back.
Well, it didn't show on that changeup, which is a pitch that a pitcher will try and do the best to have retire himself on.
Here's Edgar Renteria, one of the heroes from last night. He doubled to lead off the 10th inning and scored the winning run. 1 for 8, though, in this series, but that one hit, a very key one last night. Kerry Robinson picked up the winning RBI. Breaking ball and a bunt down the third base line. That's rolling, and that's a fair ball, folks, and a base hit for Renteria. First and second. Pair of hits here in this inning. That'll bring in Eli Marrero. Good job by Edgar Renteria.
Absolutely. Drops it down. Never reaches the grass, but it never also rolls foul. It was right there on the grass. So they were hoping to go foul. Phil Nevin had no other choice to pick it up. So the Cardinals have already had 3 hits here. 2 in this inning.
Here's Eli Marrero, the catcher today. And as Al told you, last year, September 3rd, was a big night for the Cardinals. It's Bud Smith's no-hitter. And this man was behind the plate, so Eli behind the plate today. And Eli has very much gotten accustomed to playing in the outfield and really enjoys it. So he doesn't mind going behind the plate, but his preference is in that right field or center field, Al.
Yeah. Play in the outfield, it's not as sore the next day. Did you foul tips and different things?
Yeah, you mentioned it last night. Those foul tips don't hurt outright when you see it hit the catcher.
That was the great line that Gerald Porter had. And Darryl Porter, earlier in his career, had some substance abuse problems. After he got all that taken care of, he came back and said, "Man, I never realized foul balls hurt so much." Very happily report that Darryl really's got his life in order.
That ball gets away. Back to the screen. And into a camera well behind home plate, I believe.
That was kind of a lazy effort by Wiki Gonzalez. And now talking to him, I wonder if it's almost he was crossed up. But watch the catcher here. And then he just kind of turned and went into that camera well, and so I would bet he was crossed up.
So it's second and third. One out. Good opportunity here for Marrero. And he is deep in the box. You'll see that back right leg pretty much out of the box there at the plate.
Of course, you eliminate that line, and then you try to sell it that your heel was touching it. Breaking ball pitcher like Jones, you either have two approaches. You go way up in front of the box, or you go way in the back.
Second and third. Eli. The fly ball into right field. We'll see the arm of Buchanan here. The Cardinals lead it on the RBI by Eli Marrero. Plenty deep enough in right. That is number 35, a career high for Eli. RBI 35, and the Cardinals grab the early 1-0 lead as both runners move up.
Yep. Try and make that miraculous throw, and then you throw a lollipop that's up, can't be cut off, and both runners advance. And a hanging breaking ball, and Eli gets the job done. Career highs in virtually every category.
So Tino Martinez scores. Marrero the RBI, and here's Bud Smith, and he can handle the bat. Hitting .250 this year. Two outs. Renteria is at third. First pitch to Bud is a strike on the outside corner.
Problem is that this is the 9th start for Bud, so 8 previous starts, 1 relief appearance, and only 12 at bats. And you're not going deep in ball games.
Bud taps it foul in the hole 0-2. Last check, Houston was trailing Cincinnati 5-0. It's now a 6-3 ball game late at Minute Maid Park. Here's the 0-2. And Bud lines it into left field. Good play by Ron Gant. And to go back, Leaphort made the play, and Bud strands Renteria. Good play by Ronnie Gant, left, the former Cardinal. Takes a hit away from Bud. It's 1-0. Tonight, following the game, Angel discovers how hard it is being a new dad, especially, Al, when the demon underworld is after your son. Don't miss Angel tonight at 8, only on WB11. We hope you join us for Angel later tonight. Ron Gant, Brian Buchanan, and Wiki Gonzalez will face Bud Smith. We're in the bottom of the second. Nice round of applause for Gant after taking a hit away from Bud Smith on a line drive into left. He was playing shallow, had to go back and was drifting a bit, but still made the play. Ronnie is entering his 20th professional season this year. 15th year in the major leagues.
Do you remember what position he first came to the big leagues?
I want to say shortstop.
Second base.
Second base, okay.
300 home runs. He'll end up with 1,000 RBIs.
Played for the Braves in 1987. Reds. Jim Bowden took a chance on him in 95 after he missed all of the 94 campaign. He was the player of the year as far as the comeback player of the year in that category.
He had a dirt bike accident, if I remember. Broke his leg.
Played with the Cardinals, Phillies, Angels, Rockies. He signed with them as a free agent. Finished up with the A's last year. Over 300 home runs in his major league career, and he pops this one up. Renteria shades from the sun and has it. Round number 1. Padres picked up a couple of base hits in the top half of the first, or rather the bottom half of the first. One of those was erased on a double play. With 2 outs, Klesko struck out. Here's Buchanan searching for his first Padres hit.
His debut last night with a strikeout.
Breaking ball and a strike. And a swing and a miss. Quickly 0-2. Everybody's fine in the seats. That's good to see. That was a screamer into the seats.
Originally selected by the Yankees in the first round, 24th pick overall in the '94 first-year player draft.
They jam him a bit as Bud hits his spot. Polanco over to Tino, and there's 2 outs. You can see Marrero Al set up that inside half, and he hit his spot with a fastball, got it in just enough, and jammed him for the second out.
Well, that's what he's got to do. He's throwing a cut fastball, get in on the right-handers, jam them a bit. Cut fastball to me is just more like your old-fashioned slider, where the slider that people talk about today is more like a slurve combination, kind of in between the curveball and slider. Good sliders only break a couple inches. Circumference of the bat isn't that big.
Gonzalez, a start on Friday night. He's 0 for 2. First 2 games of the series have gone right down to the wire. Last night 10 innings. Night before, the Cardinals were leading 3-0 heading into the 7th inning. Couldn't hold that lead and lost it 4-3.
Think about the 4 games in the Dodger series. Last series we played at home before the All-Star break. You know, those very easily could have been a sweep by the Redbirds. And we could have won the first game of this series. Probably should have.
Gonzalez 1 for 17 this month. Cardinals last night just their 2nd win of the season when scoring 3 or fewer runs. 2-22 when held under 3.
Bud has about 60 members of family and friends here at the game, including his agent, who I sat down and talked with. And by the way, is sitting with their general manager,
Kevin Towers.
Kevin Towers,
the general manager.
And some talk about the Padres would like to acquire Bud Smith.
Line drive up the middle and a base hit for Gonzalez. Just the 2nd hit for Gonzalez this month. So a 2-out base hit, and that'll bring in Matos.
A week he had missed 5 games with a left hamstring strain, and he was 1 for 17 after missing those 5 games. Now he had a base hit to it. Coming after 2 outs and facing the 8th place hitter, should be out of the inning.
A foul ball, back in the seats. Kevin Towers has been busy these last few weeks. Kinds of injuries with this Padres team, decimated just like St. Louis.
They've already made or had 47 players this year on the roster, right?
Right.
National League record. There you see Kevin Towers, general manager. And then those 2 youngsters right there are part of the trio of Bud Smith's agents. So their dad, Alan Mesan, Mirsan, said we're all 3 Bud Smith's agents. He said after the game, which one's going to claim him?
That's right. 2 balls, or rather 3 balls and a strike on Matos.
There you gentleman on the left is Bud's agent. I thought it was interesting when he called up and said, you know, I'd like to bring my sons to the game, that he was pleasantly surprised with the carte blanche, parking pass, invitation to watch the game in the general manager's booth, eat up in the media press box. Not normally what happens for an agent.
And agents prior to games are not allowed on the field. Something that you cannot have happen.
They shouldn't be allowed in the stadium. The runner, Ricky Gonzalez, not sure where the ball is. What base coaches are for.
There's a ground ball hit to short, and Renteria gobbles it up. Toss to Tino, and Bobby Jones is left on deck. 1-0 Cardinals. Hey Cardinal fans, it's not too late to schedule your group outing for August and September. Call the group sales office at area code 314-425-0695 and let the Cardinals help you plan your group outing. 425-0695. We're just talking about Kevin Towers, the general manager of the Padres. He was quoted in the paper this morning with the idea for breaking ties in all-star games played in Milwaukee. He said it's easy. You put Ichiro in the bratwurst outfit. Andrew Jones goes in the hot dog. Have them race to center field to home. Whoever wins, you win the all-star game.
Well, that's how you decide it at Miller Park. How do you decide it in other parks?
Well, he didn't say.
Okay. So
But
another
Miller Park, we've got it.
50 years from now, we'll find out if we have a tie. That's how you do it.
Right. We know Walt Jocketty is trying to find pitching. He won't find it with Ricky Ankiel. We are informed that Ankiel, in his second opinion from Dr. James Andrews, is Vina chops him towards Cruz for out number 1 here in the third. Is that there's Brad Hange. Received word from Brad that he is the PR director with us, along with Brian Bartow, who's back home. Those two work hand in hand. And one of the things that they talked about was the fact that Ankiel had that second opinion
Confirmed, Dr.
by
Palettas,
Andrews. Yeah.
that nothing is wrong, a non-surgical approach.
But
So they're
yet-
going to shut him down, huh, for eight weeks.
Minimum of 8 weeks, which means more than likely the rest of the baseball season. So what do you do then with Ricky Ankiel? Does he come up? Does he travel with the minor league club? Does he travel with the major league club? Does he go to Jupiter? Polanco rips that fair down the third base line. And into that bullpen of San Diego's. Polanco is digging for 2, and he'll have a double. It was smoked.
My personal opinion, they missed the boat. They should have traded him last year.
We're talking about Ankiel.
Yep. Turns on the pitch. It was up inside the bag beyond the dive of Nevin. So let's see if the Cardinals can add to their 1-0 lead.
If it's not a physical problem, you wonder if he'll ever get back.
Well, he's still only 22. He won't be 23 until later this month. But it's really 2 years away from competitive pitching. His age is on his side, but you question whether he wants to now.
It's Polanco with a lead at second. Edmonds just missed a home run his first time up. Pretty short lead for Polanco, and Cruz isn't even doing anything to try to get him to go back to the bag. He's not moving in and out near that shortstop position, and Polanco's had a very short lead from second. One ball, one strike on Edmonds. Jim tripled back in the first on a ball that should have been caught by the right fielder. Buchanan was hit off the top of the wall, and Jim trotted into third with a 2-out stand-up triple. Left stranded though by Pujols after he grounded out. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Edmonds pops it up left side. That'll find the seats to even the count at 2-2. Right-handed pitching. Jim is hitting over .330. 32-year-old center fielder just turned 32. The last home stand back home. Jim is hitting .319. Jones is set. Here's a 2-2. It's a full count. Bobby Jones, 32-year-old right-hander. Pitched for the Mets for a number of years, came up all the way back in 1993. Edmonds chased a ball and struck out. First strikeout for Bobby Jones.
Jim Edmonds fooled. You don't see that often, particularly on 3-2 pitches. Occasionally he may take one and be guessing wrong, but there he was fooled and got himself one.
Here's Albert Pujols with 2 outs and Polanco at second. Check on Placido with the second baseman Matos coming in. Cardinals lead it 1-0. The RBI by Marrero back in the second, number 35. Outfield pretty deep for Pujols. Cruz backs up. Outfield grass. Throws. Not in time. Polanco digging for the plate. Save. Gonzalez dropped the ball. Heads up, running by Polanco. And it's 2-0 St. Louis.
Continuous play right there. So, I mean, deep into the hole. They go ahead. He tries to execute the third out. Safe there. Lesko paying attention. They had him dead to right. But you see, he goes off. Never catches it. He blocked it, but Polanco, also the presence of mind, he sees what's going to happen. He hits that front leg, but he touches home plate. Watch his hand. Come right down now with his left hand and touches home plate. He still didn't have the ball.
Here's Tino Martinez. Let's hope Polanco, Al, is okay, because he is being checked on by Brad Henderson. When he got up, he was limping a bit. You could see on the replays that his ankle had twisted, maybe going into the foot of Gonzalez.
Yep. So he puts his left leg out there, goes right into it, but he comes down with his left leg or left hand onto the home plate, and apparently he's okay. Easy for me to say, but Travis Smith won't get out of the way, so and no trainers are attending to him.
Let's hope Placido is okay, and it seems to be that he will be. And there's Brad Henderson
with that illegal camera again.
Only illegal with Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Tony Payne didn't like it.
There's no cameras in the Dominican.
He ceased all operations with that camera.
And of course, as you wonder why we're kidding, is Brad likes to have a camera and take shots of digital camera, use it in some of his talks in the wintertime
to show different arm angles and different ways to throw the baseball. Martinez is 1 for 2 on the day as the top of the third, and for the ground out to second. The Cardinals get another. Polanco this run, and it's 2-0. Bud Smith back to work here in the bottom of the third. Cardinals lead it 2-0. Bobby Jones will lead things off, his counterpart in the top of the order, and Mark Kotsay and Davy Cruz. Cardinals with an RBI by Pujols last inning. The other RBI by Eli Marrero. Eli with a career high now 35, and Pujols just pretty much picking up where he left off last season. He now has 68 on the year. Jones, little fly ball into right. There's J.D. Drew, round number 1.
So far, so good with Bud Smith.
He's looked better here today.
Very much so. He's used all of his pitches. He's pitched on both sides of the plate and being more aggressive. We'll start watching that, what happens like the second time through the order.
Here's Kotsay. Had a good battle with Bud back in the first, and eventually won it with a base hit into left. One of the best logos in sports. Birds on the bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals head to Los Angeles. A bus ride after today. Tomorrow night it'll be Travis Smith against Omar Dow. Dow is 7-4. We saw him in the final game prior to the All-Star break. Travis is 2-0. Andy Bennis then will go against Hideo Nomo, who's 9-5.
Dodgers knocked out of first place yesterday by the Diamondbacks.
Dodgers have lost 3 straight.
And it might be interesting to keep an eye on those starters that have been so good for the Dodgers, as a lot of them have a history of fading after July.
One of those guys being Dow. Strikeout there for Bud Smith. Good pitch on the outside corner. Kotsay didn't like the call at all. And for Bud, that's strikeout number 2.
See Morero set up out there. You see Brad with his camera. Boy, is he steady. Is he steady.
There's Davey Cruz, who hit into a double play back in the first. Breaking ball and a fastball, and Bud has been aggressive here this afternoon, and something that we did not see in his other starts was him being aggressive, establishing a fastball. He's done it so far here today. 1-2. Budget a little low here in San Diego. The Jugs operator behind home plate. 9 years old.
Are you assuming he's a little too young?
I am assuming that.
Well, maybe he's not being paid.
It could be the case too. A little chopper towards short. There's Renteria. And 1-2-3 inning for Bud Smith. He also picked up his second strikeout. Cardinals lead it 2-0. This portion of Cardinals baseball on WB11 is brought to you by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers, by your St. Louis area Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today, and by Bank of America. We find financial solutions that fit you. Kathy, Jeannie, and Carla are here from Farmington, Missouri, in San Diego to celebrate Kathy's 50th birthday. They want to say hi to friends and family back home in Farmington. There's Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan. And thus far, they have to be pleased with the start by Bud Smith.
Yeah, I think so. Bud has gone out there and showed them, that he can pitch at this level. Because now he has to show them endurance.
Watching the Cardinals on WB11, KPLR TV, St. Louis, and the Cardinals television network as J.D. Drew lines this one into center. Kotsay is there, and J.D. is 0 for 2. Good to see him in that starting lineup, though, and hopefully back healthy, primarily for the rest of this season. J.D. Drew broke his bat on that last swing.
See if something flies out towards the end of the bat, and a sliver or chip comes flying up. Remember him lifting his leg like that?
No. I noticed that as well in the replay. Here's Renteria, bunted his way on. Back in the second inning, he's 1 for 1. Edgar hitting .283 on the year.
And the novice batting coach, for a guy that has trouble in off-speed pitches, I don't think that's the right approach. Spread out like Jim Edmonds, so you can't be fooled. You can't be out in front. If you lift that leg up, then you're
committed.
You're committed, and you're only going to have your timing good for the fastball, not on the off-speed pitch, which gives him trouble.
Renteria has been consistent this year, both at Busch Stadium and away on the road. 1-2 the count. Mentioned that Bobby Jones has primarily played his entire major league career. The New York Mets prior to last season, though. Picked up by San Diego and went 8-19 as Renteria hits a bullet into right. A one-out base hit here in the fourth. He's 2 for 2.
So not there with the front foot out on his toe. So little movement. And hit that ball solidly to the right side and through. 2 for 2 is Renteria. Guerrero had a sacrifice fly the first time up. Career high in home runs, RBIs, on the verge of stolen bases.
10 for 10 in that department.
His career high is 11. But obviously getting more playing time, and he's showing the talent that we thought he had, but just really hadn't had a chance to see him play enough to really see if he is this good. It's been fun to watch.
Eli taps it off the plate and foul. 5 major league seasons. That's hard to believe that Eli's been in the majors for 5 years, battled through the cancer.
You don't want to say wasted years, but prior to this year, you really did not know. Could he play in the outfield? Could he play every day? You knew that he had the ability and potential, but there's a lot of prospects become suspects. We're happy he is realizing the potential.
Here's the 0-1 pitch, and Eli jumps on it into left field. Gant going back. Will make the play for the second out. Renteria shows a tag and then it's back to first. So 2 outs. Renteria back to first. And that'll bring in Bud Smith. Cardinals, by the way, have 6 hits on the afternoon against Bobby Jones. And I mentioned before, Al, that last year he had 19 losses, which tied Albie Lopez of the Devil Rays and Diamondbacks for the major league lead with 19. Last Padre to lose as many as 19 was Randy Jones, 22 back in 1974. But to his credit, Jones did not miss a start, made the most starts on this staff a year ago. Change up, and Smith was fooled. Inning started with a fly ball by Drew, caught by the center fielder Kotze. A base hit by Renteria is 2 for 2. And Marrero's flied out to left, so 2 outs. And the 0-1 pitch. This is high and tight to Bud Smith. Bud was a very good outfielder in high school. As Al told you before, he's from this area. Coming out of high school, one of the top performers at his position. He could handle the bat very, very well.
Who doesn't in high school?
He's done so into the major leagues as well, though. Two and 2. Milwaukee beat Pittsburgh 5-3. Chicago over Florida. Mark Pryor the win there, 10-3 at Wrigley Field.
Houston loses to Cincinnati 8-3.
Tim Redding took the loss.
I don't think we're disappointed in that.
Not at all. Long way to go for Gant. Foul ground makes the play. Bud is 0 for 2 with a pair of flyouts. 2. Ron Gant left. Welcome back to San Diego. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin on WB11 and the Cardinals television network. Our Bud Sports crew is with us, doing a great job as always. It's 2-0 Redbirds here in the bottom of the fourth. 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Padres here in their half of the fourth. Nevin, Klesko, and Gant. Nevin picked up a base hit back in the first. He's 1 for 1 against Bud. First pitch he sees here in this inning. Pops it up. Tino has it. Shading from the sun for out number 1. And Nevin is 1 for 2.
1 pitch, 1 out, getting one of their more dangerous hitters out. So tough part of the order with 3 guys coming up that all hit left-handed pitching very well.
Klesko struck out his first time up. Bud has struck out 2 on the afternoon.
Yeah, you know, you look at this start for Bud Smith, and you can put a lot of pressure on yourself, or you can relax because of the situation and say, look at, you know, I mean, we're in a situation where the Cardinals just want you to go out there and battle as long as hard as you can. Why should you put any more pressure on yourself, thinking it's a, you know, a do or die situation?
Good play by Polanco on a ball that was pretty sharply hit. A little tricky hop, and he made the play. Senior Day at Six Flags is coming up at the ballpark Sunday, July 28th. Cards and Cubs and a coupon for free senior admission into Six Flags. That Sunday night game, 7:05. We hope to see you at the ballpark at Busch Stadium. So Nevin and Klesko have been retired. 2 outs, and here's Ron Gant. Gant popped to short his first time up, hitting under 250. Padres wasting no time, hacking away here against Bud Smith.
He's throwing strikes. He's demonstrated that to the club, and he's decoying that changeup.
Be an interesting day for the Cardinals. Prior to the game, they will meet with Donald Fehr to discuss the upcoming labor situation. Donald Fehr trying to meet with all major league teams. So he's going to meet with the Dodgers and the Cardinals prior to tomorrow night's game. Here's a 1-2 pitch from Bud Smith in the dirt.
Tony was having a little fun in the clubhouse. He got a little worried when he saw Steve Klein trying to help Bud Smith with mechanics. He said that's the last thing we need to see. Well, then there's a little bet between Klein and Tony today.
Popped up right side. Lots of foul ground here at Qualcomm Stadium, and Tino makes a very nice play over the shoulder. So Bud responds with 3, 4, and 5 in the order. He has a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 4, and Tony La Russa of the Cardinals lead it 2-0. It's a grand slam for Taurus. $3,000 cash back or 0% APR financing for 60 months to qualified buyers. Ford and your quality Ford stores, your home run to summer fun.
Hey, there's Jordan Vina.
You said you were going to get him on TV, Al, and you did.
No, I'd love to watch that platinum hair. Boy, I mean, he's ready for Tinseltown.
He is. He's ready for L.A. Good point.
He'd fit right in, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. Vina's 0 for 2. Lined out, trying to bunt his way on, and lined it towards second. Also grounded out to short. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals have 6 hits on the afternoon, lead it 2-0. RBIs by Pujols and Eli Marrero. Vina takes it up the middle. There's Davy Cruz to his left, and Vina's struggles continue in this series. This day in baseball history is brought to you by Schnucks. Back in 1940, the aftermath of the Beanball Wars, Spalding advertises a batting helmet with ear flaps. In the Sporting News, players express no interest. That has changed. Now you'll see little leaguers with cages, almost like football masks, with the batting helmet.
And it's mandatory now. There was a period of time where it was grandfathered in. If you had started at a certain time where the ear flaps were not mandatory, you could wear a helmet without the ear flaps until your career was over. It's all for the protection of the players, but remember when they wore no batting helmets. They were just a skull cap.
Right.
Just a little paper thin, almost cardboard like, that would fit inside your hat.
2 up and 2 down. Last Cardinal I remember wearing that was Ozzie, without the ear flaps.
And really what it, it got to the point where if you've never had the ear flap, it did play with your peripheral vision. A hitter would kind of, as he's looking out there, he would see the edge of that curvature around the ear, and it was a major distraction. That's why they allowed guys to go ahead. If you started without it, you could continue.
Here's Jim Edmonds. Line drive right back up the middle against Bobby Jones. So Edmonds a triple and now a base hit. He's 2 for 3. Very good swing here by Edmonds.
He struck out last time when he was fooled by a pitch, but you see how he spreads out, just lifts the toe, weight back, and he can't be fooled often by an off-speed pitch. That's the type of approach I think would work better for JD rather than lifting his front leg up.
Has Edmonds talked to JD about that approach, or at least experimenting with it?
Well, I'm sure he's had discussions with him, but I would find JD would be probably a little reluctant to change. But yet we'll have to ask him about his new stat.
Line drive by Pujols and a pair of 2 odd base hits, consecutive pitches.
Now we need Tino to drive in 1, and then we'll bring up JD and see if he continues to lift his front leg.
8 hits, 4 2/3 against Bobby Jones.
He lifts his leg up, but he puts it down in time to where he can make the adjustment. There's Bochy. And there's 2 outs. Doesn't like what he's seeing right here. Cardinals are out hit the Padres 8-3.
Tino has a base hit and a run scored. The first run of the game back in the second. Takes a strike on the inside corner. Bruce Bochy and Kevin Towers and the Padres really looking ahead to 2004 as they signed Mark Kotsay to a long-term deal yesterday. Nevin is signed up. Plesko is signed up. Trevor Hoffman is signed through 2004. They'd like to make that even longer. Changeup. Tino was chasing, and it's 0-2. Maybe they believe that Trevor has a chance to catch Lee Smith, the all-time saves leader, with 478. You would think that Hoffman would have a pretty good chance of doing that.
Yeah, 333.
Yep. So, a few years to go.
A lot of pitching. He's in great shape. Takes good care of himself.
It bounces in the dirt. Runners will stay. Pujols got about halfway between first and second. Saw that Edmonds wasn't going anywhere and had to retreat back to first. This is a nice play by Wiki Gonzalez.
See the breaking ball, and see he tries to get up there, and the ball gets away a little bit, but not that far. And that's a good. You brought up a good point about Pujols, the second runner. He really has to keep an eye on the runner in front of him so he doesn't run up his back or just take off blindly, go to second, and that guy retreat back to second and end up 2 at the bag.
One-two pitch. 2-2. Tino has had a rough series. Left 4 men on in the loss on Friday night. Ejected early on in last night's ball game, but here today a base hit and a run scored. Taps it foul. We'll do it again with 2 balls and 2 strikes. For 48,000 last night. A pretty good crowd here today.
A lot of distractions out here in Southern California on day games. A lot of competition for the entertainment dollar.
2-2 pitch. Tino strikes out. He's left 3 on today and 2 on that at bat. We played 4.5, and the Cardinals here in San Diego lead it 2-0. This portion of Cardinal baseball on WB11 is brought to you by Jack in the Box. We don't make it till you order it. And by Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. The WB11 Jetcopter making its way through San Diego as we welcome you back to the West Coast.
The true Rich Gould is at the helm.
I understand Rich is near us. Brian Buchanan. Grounded to third his first time up. Buchanan, Gonzalez, and Matos for the Padres in their half of the 5th. They trail it 2-0. Bud Smith, 3 hits allowed. Bud, of course, had a rapid rise to the Cardinals organization. Drafted in '98. Arriving ahead of schedule in the major leagues. Good pitch there. Made his debut last June. Played an awfully big role for the Cardinals after the All-Star break. Took over for Andy Bennis in the starting rotation. Won 6 of his 14 starts. And threw a no-hitter on September 3rd here in San Diego. Buchanan reaches out and grounds out to Tino. Last base hit we saw against Bud was back in the 2nd inning.
Of course, important for Bud to get through this 5th inning. Tony felt that the quality of the Cardinal bullpen, that if starters could give him that good 5 innings, that they could get by. The problem is now is when you think in terms of Bud Smith, Travis Smith, and Andy Bennis are really being 5-inning pitchers. You know, it's hard for them to deal with 3 or 4 guys that you have to cover up for.
67 pitches thrown by Bud thus far. No walks and a ground ball hit to short. 2 outs. Now something we talked about in the open with Bud Smith. Establish the changeup and make sure that you hit your spots with the location. Now these are the pitches that were hit for base hits. Kotze up in the zone.
This wasn't a bad. See, the first one was a breaking ball. This was a fastball they really fought off, so it really wasn't bad. And there's a ball that's down. I'm trying to think if it was an off-speed pitch too, but.
And it was.
You know, sometimes you put the ball in play. He's not a strikeout guy. Sometimes they're going to find holes. So, but the biggest thing is all 3 hits today have been singles, and he has not walked a man. That's a pretty good formula for winning.
Mannerisms have been much better on the mound. He's working quickly like we saw last year. A little confidence out there. Now he runs a count 3-0. Four straight, and Matos is the first base runner we've seen in quite some time. Instead of having Bobby Jones lead off the 6th, he'll face him here in the 5th with 2 outs and a man on. First walk handed out by Bud. Jones flied to right to J.D. Drew. His first time up, he's 0 for 1. These are the 2 that were going head-to-head back in September 3rd when Bud threw his no-hitter. Strike on the outside corner. Wide strike there by C.B. Buckner. Bobby Jones saying, make sure you give me that pitch when I'm on the mound.
Okay, Bobby, see if you can get to the batter's box.
Oh, 0-2. Mets over the Phillies today, 4-2. So we told you before, Milwaukee and Chicago winners. Houston lost against Cincinnati. Right down the middle, and Jones strikes out. So after the walk that he handed out to Matos, Bud Smith strikes out Bobby Jones, and he's got 3 on the afternoon. He's only allowed 3 hits, and the Cardinals, after 5, lead it 2-0. Here's our Sun Trip Automotive Family Trivia question for today. What year did the Cardinals last turn a triple play? Ozzie has to be involved in that, I would assume.
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you it was last century. I think it was a 5-4-3. Oh, Ozzie was.
It's the Mets. Geronimo Pena, your favorite, Al.
I was thinking it was a 5-4-3 is why I didn't think about Ozzie.
Jack Buck, I remember listening to the game, actually called it before it happened. But he'd always say, how about a triple play? So 1 out of 1,000 times that he called it, he got it.
Yeah, I could always then tell you, well, if you call him enough, sometimes they got to come through. Nobody pays attention to the ones that don't.
JD is 0 for 2 today. Qualcomm Stadium will be the site of this year's Super Bowl. So the Cardinal fans tuning in, getting a glimpse at the site of what we hope to see the Rams do. They've had all kinds of problems. Pitch has popped up to the second baseman. JD is 0 for 3. Apparently many of the city officials that wowed the NFL to come here have not kept all their promises with this stadium. As far as seats, luxury suites in the locker room.
Lifting that leg up, he does put it down on an off-speed pitch, but way out in front.
Renteria is 2 for 2, a bunt single and a base hit to the right side. Goes up the middle. He's 3 for 3. So Renteria 3 for 3. His .285 batting mark is on the rise.
His hands are back, so when he puts the leg down, he's in a solid foundation for swinging the bat. Just drops the hands right to the bat to ball.
See if Edgar wants to do a little running with 1 out, and here's Marrero. Eli with an RBI here today. A check on Edgar. Wiki Gonzalez, the catcher, really hasn't been tested all that much in this series. We talked about last night, Ben Davis was the catcher of the future, but he was traded to Seattle. Tomko and Tom Lampkin came from Seattle to San Diego. Gonzalez got the bulk of the time. Knock on Eli behind the plate. Over last couple of years was that he didn't call all that really of a good game, but then you look at his record when he's behind the plate. Also Bud Smith's no-hitter, and makes you scratch your head.
Well, he caught last year. He caught Matt Morris. I think he won 22 games. He caught Woody Williams, who was 7-1, and he caught Bud Smith, who's no-hitter. That's way overplayed.
Runner goes, line drive into shallow center. Kotsay can't make the play, and Edgar will move up to third. So Eli, a line drive into center. It just fell in front of Mark Kotsay. And the Cardinals have their 9th hit of the day, and Eli banged a changeup into right center field.
See, look where the ball's up, sitting on a tee for him. And remember earlier in the count, he took a changeup there. Renteria didn't know right there. The middle infielders tried to deke him, but he picked it up, made sure it got down before he went on over to third base. But earlier in the at bat, he took a changeup for a called strike. The way he took that pitch, you know, it was a sign that it just didn't really fool him. And later on, when he saw that changeup and it was elevated, he jumped all over it.
Now it's 1st and 3rd, and Bud Smith a chance to help himself with 1 out here in the 6th. Flied out twice to Ron Gant left. Third baseman Nevin on the grass. Klesko holding at first. Shortstop and second baseman at double play depth. What do you do here with Bud Smith?
Bud sure could help himself right here. He's very capable. But after the first time he lined out to left, Bobby Jones is not taking him lightly and is giving him his complete assortment of pitches.
Undoing there with Jones checking on the base runners. Guerrero's at first and Renteria's at third. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ball inside with Vina on deck.
Vina not swinging the bat particularly well. Cardinals already have a 2-0 lead. Good runner at third. But with the ability to handle the bat a little bit, you could put on a squeeze. I think they'd be more inclined to let him swing away. As long as you got the defense guessing. Part of what they're trying to do is trying to give it away. Guerrero trying to look over to Oquendo, trying to figure out what's going on. He's being screened by the runner and the pitcher.
Squeeze is on. Bunt is down. Perfect by Bud Smith. And it's 3-0 St. Louis. Bud does his job for the RBI, his first of the season.
This shows you don't have to make a perfect bunt. Really take advantage and just hit the ball back towards the pitcher, deaden it. But even if it gets back there, very few times will they be able to execute and get the guy at home plate. So they concede the run. They get the second out of the inning at first base, and the Cardinals add a very important insurance run, 3-0.
And now there's 2 outs and a chance for Vina to add to this 3-0 lead. Cardinals got 1 in the second, another in the third, and now their 3rd run here in the 6th. And Vina chops it towards second base. In the outfield grass, Matos, and he puts it away over to first. Squeeze play by Bud Smith scores Renteria, and it's 3-0 Birds. Let's turn to our Dodge dealers NL Central standings, with the Cardinals leading by the score of 3-0 behind a 10-hit attack against Bobby Jones. A beautiful day here in San Diego. Cardinals are at 48-39, a chance to go up 10 games above the 500 mark with a victory today. Reds a winner today in Houston. They're 47-44, so as we speak they are 3 games out, and Houston is 5.5 back with the loss. Could be 6 with a win today by St. Louis. 3rd time through the order now for Bud Smith. Let's see how he can respond. Kotze, the leadoff man, followed by Davy Cruz and then Phil Nevin. Cardinals picked up a run in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and another in the 6th. High fly ball into right field. There's J.D. Drew, and Kotze on the afternoon is 1 for 3. Let's turn to our Pizza Hut perfect delivery of the game, and Al, here's a squeeze play off the bunt from Bud Smith.
You see they Renteria did not give it away by leaving too soon. They tried to do a couple pickoffs that way. Bud did the job of not giving it away too soon either, or even when they were step off, throw to first base, or fake to third. You know, he didn't show bunt too soon.
Cruz, a fly ball into shallow right. JD coming on, and he'll make that play as well. And there's 2 outs.
And looks like Bud is well on his way to a very efficient 1, 2, 3, 6 inning.
No doubt. Remember when Jose Jimenez faced the Diamondbacks, he threw a no-hitter. Next time he comes out and throws, what was it, a 1 or a 2-hitter and a shutout. Both were against Randy Johnson, and here's Bud Smith, 2 outs in the 6th. Last time he was here at Qualcomm Stadium against San Diego, September 3rd. Last season, a no-hitter. Here today, no runs scored by the Padres.
And we won't talk about the times in between when he pitched at Busch Stadium because we like Bud.
That's right. We'll just say it was an 11-5 win in which he had a no decision.
And then there was another one that he only went 3 1/3 innings against the Padres, but both of them at Busch.
He had 3 hits allowed in the first 7 that he saw, and he's not allowed a hit since. That was all the way back in the 2nd inning. The last hit that he saw was by Gonzalez. Chopper towards Polanco. Bud Smith, a very efficient 6th inning. 1, 2, 3, 6th inning. We have played 6. Coming up, Polanco, Edmonds, and Pujols for St. Louis. Congratulations to Helen Wild, today's merchandise prize winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. The Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th. Helen Wild will qualify for the grand prize drawing for a Hyundai Santa Fe at the end of the baseball season. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer to complete an entry form. We had a winner last night with a home run by Eduardo Perez. Let's see what the Cardinals can do in this 7th inning. In this game 3 of this 3-game set against San Diego, the Cardinals trying to make it 2 of 3 and 2 straight wins. Polanco, Edmonds, and Pujols do it for the Cardinals here in the 7th.
And we're rooting for Helen, right?
We're rooting for Helen.
Helen. Okay, she's going to have, after Polanco, Edmonds, and Pujols.
Got a shot.
Martinez and Drew and Renteria and Morero knock out starter.
Bobby Jones is allowed 10 hits, but it's only 3-0. And the first pitch, a breaking ball, the strike to Polanco. Placido today, he's fly to center, doubled and scored back in the 3rd. And an RBI by Albert Pujols. Very good base running, by the way, by Polanco on that run. He's also grounded out to short. Polanco was actually at second base on an infield hit. He scored. Pujols had grounded to short. Davy Cruz was on the outfield grass, made a very nice play to get to the ball, threw it to Klesko, and with that long throw, Polanco never stopped, went around third base and scored.
I'm just trying to wonder. I see they have an error on the board, and I'm wondering if they gave an error to Ricky Gonzalez on that play. Can you think of any other play?
That's got to be it, because he dropped a bullet from Klesko. It was right at his chest, and Polanco would have been out.
So maybe we'll have to take that error or the RBI away from Pujols.
Had not seen that prior to
this I just looked up there too.
Placido with a double today. He's hit safely in 25 of his last 29 games. Breaking ball, he lifts it into left center field. Gant on the run, he won't catch up. That's going to get to the wall. And Polanco digs for 2, a stand-up double to start the 7th inning. Pair of doubles for Polanco today. He's starting to really come around.
He's bringing one of the hottest bats. So will this lead to a scoring opportunity? There, the hanging breaking ball that was up in the zone plugs the gap.
Let's give you the scoring today, 2nd inning. Eli Morero with a fly ball deep enough into right. That would score Tino Martinez, who had led off that inning with a base hit. Here's the play we're talking about. Is this an error on Gonzalez, the catcher? He had it, dropped it. Polanco scored. Then we go to a squeeze play with Bud Smith. That was in the 6th inning. That would score Edgar Renteria, and that's where we stand. It's 3-0.
Keep that tape running. Maybe we'll get add to the scoring right here.
Edmonds chases a bad pitch. Jimmy today has tripled off the top of the wall in right center field. He struck out back in the third and picked up a base hit right back up the middle against Bobby Jones in the fifth. He's 2 for 3.
Kevin Pickford, left-hander, throwing behind Jones and Padres bullpen.
Tailing fastball in there for a strike. Jones has allowed now 11 hits after the double by Polanco, and he has struck out 2 on the afternoon. Jones has shown a big breaking curveball, mixes in the fastball that's in the mid-80s. The changeup as well. Edmonds chases that one. Lines it to left, and Ron Gant still hit it deep enough on a pitch that was way outside. 1 out.
Several times Jim has chased that ball up there, and there's one of those high pitches that pitcher could tantalize him with. He didn't go after a lot of them, but there's never been a high pitch Jim Edmonds did not like.
Here's Albert Pujols, 2 for 3 today. Average is climbing towards 300. He's had back-to-back base hits after his first time up when he grounded out to short. Pickoff play, and Polanco back safely. Tino Martinez on deck. Last season, Pujols, NL rookie record for RBIs 130. Extra base hits, he had 88. Albert with a line drive into right. Buchanan backing up. Polanco will tag. Moves up from second to third. Pujols is 2 for 4, and it's up to Tino Martinez with 2 outs. Join Jeff Bernthal and Melanie Moon for the day's latest news. Dan Issa has the sports with the best Dan sports show, period. Isn't that bad? That's just a bad promo, but I'll read it. And Karen Shipman with the latest weather on WB11 Weekend News. Dan Issa. It's a bad takeoff, but he does a heck of a job on Sports, Al. I've seen him. He's very, very good, along with Jeff Bernthal and Melanie Moon, so we hope you stay with us on WB11. I don't know if he's a Rich Gould, but Dan does a very nice job on Sports. Here's Tino Martinez.
Sure Dan didn't write his own promo.
No, he did not. I guarantee it.
And I'm sure they didn't read our fan letters for the best damn sports show.
We've had some doozy fan letters.
Oh man, sometimes we have to remind each other we're in the Bible Belt area.
Tino Martinez is hitting 245. 1 for 3 on the day with a base hit and a run scored. First run of the day back in the second. Gonzalez blocks it in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes with J.D. Drew on deck. Tino trying to add to this 3-0 lead against 32-year-old Bobby Jones.
They're ready for California living, aren't they?
They're ready to go.
That's Tino's son on the left, and Bean is
that's Jordan.
And the other little one running around is his nephew.
Martinez grounds sharply to second. Matos is there. The Cardinals strand a man. They have left 8 on the day. 3-0 Redbirds. Home field advantage goes to the family arriving at the game in their Ford Windstar. Now with $3,000 cash back or 0% APR financing. Ford and your quality Ford stores. Your home run to summer fun. Cardinal fans all over the place here in San Diego as we welcome you back. Here's Ryan Klesko, the cleanup man, against Bud Smith. Ryan last season had more walks than strikeouts. For a guy that hits for power, the strikeouts were high, but not as high as you might expect. Bud Smith has been very good so far, very aggressive in this game. Klesko, Gant, and Buchanan. And Klesko all of a sudden is in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. On 0-2, he lines it towards short. There's Renteria. That's out number 1. Padres have just 3 hits against Bud Smith.
Tim Flannery, third base coach for the Padres, has become quite a musician, has 5 CDs out, and we'll give you a little sampling.
For dollars without cents, commissioners getting antsy, balls are flying through the fence, history's being pushed.
That's just terrible. No, I'm just joking. It's very, very good.
It actually, the lyrics he wrote are pretty good. It's called the baseball song, and kind of a comparison of the history of the game, and I guess his mild protest and criticism of some of today's players.
And one of the things that he does with those, I think now 5 CDs, is that he raises money for children to come to the ballpark, and he pays for tickets and gets them a hot dog and a soda.
Yeah, and he's gotten quite a bit of pretty good musicians that'll go with him now to some of his concerts and opening acts for different other ones.
Popped up, and Polanco calls for it, waves off Guerrero, and there's 2 outs. Bud Smith has done a heck of a job here today. 2 outs in the 7th, and only 3 hits allowed.
Steve Klein is smiling because he looks like he's about to get his winning bet with Tony La Russa.
Was it 7 innings? Is that right?
7 innings. He said Bud Smith was going to pitch 7 innings today, and I think he has surpassed the expectations. There you see, he's Mr. Clean. Time was called, but this all started as Steve Klein was helping Bud Smith with his mechanics and scaring the daylights out of Tony La Russa. And that's what you always do to cool down. You pour water in your hat. Part of the winning ingredients. Somebody said that is actually a red hat.
Brian Buchanan is the hitter. It's grounded to third and grounded out to first.
I don't think it is. I think it's the road cap.
Of course, he's trying to cool off wearing a winter jacket there. How about Bud Smith and the job that he has done? He has not allowed a hit, folks, since the 2nd inning, and Bud is through 7, and more Tim Flannery to break.
For dollars without cents, commissioners getting antsy, balls are.
This portion of Cardinal Baseball on WB11 is brought to you by your local St. Louis area Kia dealers. It's about time everyone had a well-made car. By Auto Tire, for the very best in tires and service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. And by Subway. Come in today and let Subway show you how good a fresh-made sandwich can be. Subway, eat fresh. Note here from folks from Highland, Illinois. They say we're enjoying our first ever vacation in San Diego, but running short of money. Tell our kids back home, and who is this from? Ron and Diana Luber, that we want money from them because we don't want to come back home and take care of them. That's not very nice.
Tom Davies, new pitcher for Bruce Bochy. Take over after the first 7 innings by Bobby Jones. This is only his 4th game. ERA is 7+. Pones Bay 364 against him. 8 hits in 5 innings. Pair of walks, 3 strikeouts.
Davey will first see J.D. Drew. You're watching the Cardinals on WB11, KPLR TV, St. Louis, and the Cardinals Television Network. Glad you're with us. Davey takes over for Bobby Jones, who allowed 11 hits and 3 runs.
There's going to be a little more to JD's liking, but of course JD coming off the disabled list, his timing's going to be a bit off.
Slices foul into the seats. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Drew Renteria and Eli Marrero for the Cardinals. Boy, you have to be impressed with Bud Smith 3 times now through the order, and he's done a very good job.
The question is now is how long do you go with it?
Right.
You know, it's been a long time since he's gone 7 innings in a ball game.
He's thrown 90 pitches so far.
So maybe try and squeeze an 8th out of it.
JD, a high drive into right field. Buchanan back at the wall. That ball is gone. J.D. Drew, welcome back to the starting lineup. A home run for J.D., a solo shot to start the 8th. And it's 4-0 St. Louis.
Well, like I said, the pitcher more to his liking, a fastball pitcher. So the only thing we saw lacking in Davey's resume was a home run allowed. Now he's got that.
J.D. with home run number 12 and RBI number 35, and no doubt about this one.
Down and in, and he gives it a ride.
Renteria's had a big day. A bunt single, his first time up in the 2nd inning. And consecutive base hits, one to right, the other one up the middle. He's also scored a run. Quickly 0-2 on Edgar Renteria. So Drew with home run number 12. Without question now, he is a key figure in that lineup down the stretch. J.D. Drew, if he can stay healthy and be in there time and again. Cruz takes a hit away. Ground number 1 here in the 8th.
J.D. has a lot of talent. One of the things you got to even think about is in your quest for pitching help. Is J.D. part of that deal? Ball right there is in his wheelhouse.
Here's Eli Marrero hitting .267 on the year.
Tyler Bates spent a little time in the Bahamas.
Good for him.
Yeah. We were well taken care of in Buddy's absence by Kurt Schloegel. Buddy just joined the ball club this morning. Smiles for everyone back there.
Eli swings and misses for the first out. We'll check that the 2nd out after the lineup by Renteria. And Bud Smith is through for the day. Here's Kerry Robinson. Robinson had the game-winning RBI hit yesterday. And he'll be our auto tire pinch hitter. Kerry came in a key spot last night with the infield drawn in. Muscled a pitch over the shortstop's head for an RBI. And proved to be the game winner. He started on Friday night.
I like this move.
So Bud will leave after 3 hits in 7 innings. And a 4-0 lead. Quickly it's 0-2 on Kerry.
Dave Beers will take over. But as I said, it's been a while trying to get his first win. He's lost 6 straight decisions, 5 this year, and make it all positive.
Kerry will make this one close. Tough play, and they got him. The play by Phil Nevin to his left, gunned down Robinson. Davey gives up the home run to J.D. Drew. And J.D.'s 12th makes it 4-0.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball is a production of Bud Sports and the exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net.
Cardinals have some changes. Dave Ears takes over for Bud Smith after Bud threw 90 pitches and allowed 3 hits. The last hit for San Diego was all the way back in the 2nd inning. 3 hits by the first 7 hitters he saw. So Beers takes over. He's been very, very good this season. Been the most reliable pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's been used the most out of the bullpen. Gary Robinson stays in the game. He'll take over in right field. Can't say enough about Bud Smith and the way that he pitched this afternoon.
He's been the real story. Cardinals 12 hits says something, and 4 runs, but I think Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa will be talking an awful lot about Bud Smith, the way he controlled both sides of the plate. He got the double play ball the way he needed. That was the second batter after a leadoff hit. Only allowed 3 hits on the day, 1 walk, and he got enough offense for him to be having a shutout on here in the 8th inning.
Added the RBI with the squeeze play as well. Last hit by San Diego, I mentioned that was back in the 2nd inning by this man, Wiki Gonzalez, their catcher.
And the last base runner is the on-deck hitter in the 5th. So dominating performance for Bud.
Just what the doctor ordered for Bud and for this team. They needed to see something positive from Bud Smith, and they got something positive and then some. 4-0 lead here in the 8th. 3 balls and a strike on Gonzalez. Matos is on deck. That's fought off and into the seats. Cardinals have absolutely dominated San Diego the past 3 seasons. They've lost only 4 times. Close to 30 victories against San Diego to go with those 4 losses. Such an important game and an important start for Bud, especially when you've got Travis Smith and Andy Bennis getting set to take on a very hungry Dodgers team. There's a shot to right. Robinson can't get there. That's a fair ball into the bullpen. Gonzalez digging for 3. That's a tough play for Kerry Robinson. It was a fair ball, but the configuration of this ballpark is not very fair with that bullpen that really comes into play with balls like that.
I'm not too sure if maybe on the replay we'll see if his bullpen gave him any help, because they're all kind of standing around and the ball kind of took a little turn. So he goes over the mound. He's running up the elevation. The ball just kind of curling around to the stands. Maybe not the fleetest of foot, but once it gets down into that opening of the visitor's bullpen, he was able to get all the way to third base.
Triple for Gonzalez and a chance for Matos to get San Diego on the board.
Remember, the Cardinals had a 3-0 lead slip away and losing on Friday night. So 6 big outs to get. And the Cardinals, you pretty much are going to sit there and you go, if you can get an out or 2. But, you know, if the mindset right now, a lot of pitchers get in trouble with that leadoff man at third base by trying not to allow him to score. They end up making it a big inning. So just go get the outs. If he scores, he scores. But don't let anybody else get on base.
2 balls and a strike on Matos. A start today for Bruce Bochy. Throwing in the Cardinal bullpen, Steve Klein, along with right-hander Mike Timlin.
Timlin needs some work.
Line drive into left. That's a fair ball. Over to cut it off is Albert Pujols, and Matos will stop at first base. A strong throw comes in. There's Tino backing up. So Pujols did his job and got the ball back in to hold Matos to just a single. And San Diego's on the board. It's 4-1.
12th RBI for Matos. Gets that breaking ball and puts it into left field. And Albert getting it back in quickly. Vasquez looks like he's going to pinch hit now.
You know, another point that we haven't really mentioned. Just to get Bud off that goose egg, if you can hold on for a victory and get Bud #1. Psychologically, Alan, you know this better than anybody else. Psychologically, you get that win under your belt. That makes all the difference in the world, too.
Well, we even talked about it a little bit. He's been embarrassed, you know, because he doesn't have a win for a first-place club. And Tony will be the first one to tell you he has pitched well enough to have a win or two at the bullpens, let a couple of those games slip away. But they were more like 5-inning pitching jobs rather than 7 shutout innings. They may be stalling right here to make sure that Steve Klein is ready. And that's going to be the case. May not make a pitching move, but with Vasquez, a left-hand batter, now they will.
And
Conce, and you know that it's time to bring him in right now.
It's the first time in quite some time that we haven't seen Dave Veers at his best, so he gave up the leadoff triple, which really, for all intents and purposes, Al, probably would not have been a triple if not.
Probably should have been a single.
Right. Misplayed by Robinson and Wright as it got through the bullpen. But that was the case, and then the base hit by Matos, so nobody out. 4-1 Cardinals. 29-year-old left-hander Steve Klein has been used an awful lot in this series. We'll see him for the 3rd time. Last night, threw an inning, scoreless baseball, walked a man and struck out a man. Bud Smith, some anxious moments for him as the Cardinals try to hold on for him. The bullpen will have to do it after he threw 90 pitches and 7 scoreless innings of 3-hit baseball. There's his line today. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 3 hits, 7 innings pitched.
He did his job. Now it's up to the bullpen to do theirs.
Trinidad Hubbard is now the hitter. Shows bunt, pulls back and takes a strike from Klein, who's been, as I said, used 3 times now, including today. And I know Tony La Russa had intimated to both of us, Al, that Klein had went to him and said, I want to be used more. You've got to get me in games more. Well, now he's going to get his chance down the stretch.
Well, and that's part of it is because he felt that he didn't have the consistent release point, not executing his pitches. And remember, Steve's one of those workhorses that last 3 years led the National League in appearances. This guy's put together pretty well.
Yes, he is. Scored the winning run the other night after Mark Sweeney, who has since been released. The former Cardinal started the inning with a base hit. They pinch ran with Hubbard, and he scored the winning run on the base hit by Plesko.
I was in their locker room the other day, and Langford and Trinidad walked by and said, Langford said, grab his bicep. Oh, he flexed, and I said, oh, that's impressive. And I said, yeah, I remember when Ron Gant had muscles like this. Ronnie looked at me like he'd been crushed.
Trinidad is hitting 190 with those big biceps.
Well, that's what some people said. They were surprised he could even throw a baseball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch outside.
Used to be a time, a far time ago, a different galaxy, I think, when weights were not allowed for baseball players, considered taboo.
What about when you were playing?
That's what I'm saying. When I came into the game, you know, weight. I mean, we had weighted baseballs. They were like maybe 9 ounces.
Last thing that Klein would want to do is walk this man and bring the tying run to the plate. That's lined into the seats. Timlin continuing to throw in the bullpen.
Klein's father's out here on the West Coast. Saw him before the game.
Steve did something on Father's Day that was pretty neat. His father had never been on a major league field. He took him out there fully dressed in a Cardinal uniform and played catch. a few weeks ago. 3-2 pitch. Cover. Deep right field. Robinson going back and makes the play near the track. Boy, he did not look comfortable on that play, but still made the play in deep right field.
A little casual drifting back on that ball that almost got over his head.
Remember, Kerry Robinson now was in left field in a play in Kansas City that got over his head on a play that should have been made. For a few weeks after that, he was buried by Tony La Russa. He didn't play, didn't pinch hit, didn't pinch run. Hubbard is the first out.
Moral story, catch it.
As long as you're there, right? Make the play. Here's Mark Kotsay, who is 1 for 3. In the leadoff spot here this afternoon. Luther Hackman now is up and throwing. Looks like Isringhausen might be getting up as well.
Still got Timlin throwing with Luther.
Quickly 0-2 on Kotsay. He is singled to left. Struck out and fly to right. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th with a man at first.
0-2. Are they going to waste a pitch? Slider. Off the plate. Kotsay, who Klein is facing, is the only player to hit 2 grand slams in a College World Series. Back in '95 when he was with Cal State Fullerton. He also was an outfielder and closer with Cal State.
And he pulls that just foul.
Steve Klein's best pitch is the slider. He's ahead in the count. We're giving him about every pitch has been that bread and butter pitch for him. I'm going to throw another one.
On 1-2. Kotsay takes the ball. 2-2. Was 0-2, now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See, he didn't want any part of the fastball. He wants that slider.
It's popped up into shallow right field. Robinson, long way to come. Can't make the play. On a ball that has got to be caught, it falls between Edmonds, Vigna, and Kerry Robinson.
You're absolutely right about that, Dan. That ball has to be caught. And Vigna, whether Kerry started calling too soon or not, because it looked like everybody pulled away from him and let him chase it, but then he couldn't get to it. Never did get to the ball.
Al take his pitch by pitch with Kotsay, and it looks like it should have been out number 2.
Looks like the slider. Keeps on going with the sliders out there. Hung one there, and eventually had him out on the front foot. He should have been out. He wasn't going to go that far, but yet it fell in the Bermuda Triangle out into shallow right center.
With his speed, even though he's playing deep, he should be able to make that up and make the play.
Well, I mean,
Deep right field. Robinson going back near the wall, and he has it. That stays in the ballpark. Runner from second will tag and move up to third. Now there's 2 outs. Boy, Cruz gave that a ride. Now you've got Phil Nevin. You think about Timlin, but Timlin is prone to the home run, and Nevin represents the tying run.
Dave Duncan is coming out. He's making sure, and he just got the nod from the bullpen that Timlin was ready. So I believe he was looking for Timlin. Mike Crudale was out in front protecting, and he said yes, he's ready, and Here he comes.
So Timlin will take over. We have seen Beers, Klein, and now Mike Timlin here in the 8th. Timlin will be asked to get that final out here in the 8th with a tying run. Phil Nevin, 30-plus home runs a year ago, coming up. 4-1 St. Louis.
Don't see that often where pitching coach makes the pitching changes and the manager talks to the catcher about how to retire Nevin.
Timlin is prone to that home run. That's the last thing the Cardinals could see right now, or would want to see. Nevin represents the tying run. He's up there hammering away, and the first pitch is foul. 36-year-old Mike Timlin, 0-3 on the road this season.
This is Mike's first appearance since the All-Star break, right?
Yes, sir. Last time we saw him against Los Angeles. With 3 scoreless innings of relief against San Diego during the homestand. Nevin had 41 home runs a year ago.
See that sinker in the dirt, runner at third base, so Guerrero saves a run. Well, Nevin, only player in baseball to improve his batting average, home run, and RBI totals in each of the last 3 seasons.
Signed a $34 million extension to stay in San Diego. Big swing and a miss. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You see that last outing. And that was a week ago, last game before the All-Star break.
Swing and a miss, struck him out. He strikes out Nevin. And we have played 8. We head to the 9th, and a big strikeout for Timlin and the Cardinals. Redbirds lead it by 3 runs. Fernando Ovina will lead it off in the top of the 9th for the Cardinals, who lead this one by the score of 4-1. Redbirds trying to make it 2 of 3 against San Diego and 5 of 6 this season after the sweep back in St. Louis. Kevin Pickford is a new pitcher, left-hander for the San Diego Padres. Pickford provided 2 scoreless innings Monday at St. Louis after being recalled from Portland, their AAA affiliate, earlier in the day. He's pitched as a starter and reliever since arriving in the majors. 2.45 ERA and 11 innings pitched, 8 relief appearances. Made his major league debut with the Mets.
Like they've had some kind of ridiculous amount of pitchers used this year, like about 18. And all the injuries they've had. Well, they got CB Buckner flush. I don't think Ricky Gonzalez, he didn't get any glove on that ball, and then it went off his mask.
Beanie missed it on the bunt attempt, and Gonzalez just missed it.
Yeah, and so Polanco asked him what country he's in. Trainer asked him what day it is.
My goodness.
It happens. Not often.
Not often at all. Beanie offered at it. It was a strike, and it's 0-2, and here it is again. A good look.
Ball up there, just misses the bat. How did he miss that? How's it miss Ricky Gonzalez? But it caught CB
by a
Buckner.
fraction of an inch, both those guys missed it. The bat, the glove, and then square onto the mask of Buckner.
Give CB credit. He didn't flinch, did he?
He did.
John Hirschbeck, the crew chief, not only the crew chief, but he is also the president of the New World Umpiring Association. Second base umpire checking out with the home plate. Now they asked if he swing the offer at it, and they said no. So
should be 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, that's when that would Wally Bell. Yeah, he's looking in, and which I don't know how that could be. Right? Because if he would have pulled it back, he would have more than likely caught it. So
right.
I think Vigna catches a break there. He's needed one today. 0 for 4.
Grounded to short a couple of times. Grounded to second. Also lined out to second. That's going to fall for a base hit. Vigna is 1 for 5. Team leader in hits for the St. Louis Cardinals. Fernando Vigna with a leadoff base hit here in the top of the ninth. Brings in Polanco. Pair of doubles today for Placido. Cardinals had a run in the second, a run in the third, a run in the sixth on a squeeze play by Bud Smith. Got the bunt down. And the 4th run came on a home run by J.D. Drew. Isringhausen, by the way, is up and throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. He'll probably try and come in for consecutive days. And something that Tony La Russa, I know, has to be concerned about was the way that homestand in the first half ended with Isringhausen. He was used an awful lot. He's been used differently in St. Louis than he was as a closer in Oakland. Now,
yeah, they asked several times if they were concerned. They all kind of said no, but I think you and I and a lot of the fans were.
Just didn't have the same mannerisms. The velocity was down and everything was straight.
Well, he kind of got into some habits of not pitching aggressively. Looked like he had lost confidence in a couple of his pitches.
Runner is going. That's Vigna down to second. Got him.
Vigna doesn't agree with the call, but Fernando, you don't need to get thrown out of this game. Thought he got underneath the tag, but to the naked eye, I thought he was out.
High throw, and they get the tag down. Well, I think he may have been in there. He may have slipped that toe in there. Either way, it's 1 out. Gonzalez guns down Vigna. And the count is 1 ball, 1 strike on Polanco. Sticks the bat out into shallow right. 2 down. Been a long year for manager Bruce Bochy and the Padres.
He's a good manager, but with not probably the weakest payroll in his division, and with an awful lot of injuries, he's been forced to. They've been also given a good opportunity to find out about a lot of the talent in the organization. So you look at the positive side of it. They can weed out a bunch of people and find out that, maybe build his prospects and find out they can't play.
Bruce Bochy himself is signed through 2004, so you would presume that he would be the manager of this Padres club come 2004 when the new ballpark on the horizon. After leadoff base hit by Vigna, he's erased, caught stealing, a fly out and a ground out. We head to the bottom of the ninth. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals trying to hold on. Cardinal baseball on WB11 was brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with lower fares. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Cardinals on WB11, and by Dobbs Tire and Auto Center, St. Louis's #1 choice for tires and automotive service. Welcome back to San Diego, California, Qualcomm Stadium. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals trying to hold on. 4-1 St. Louis as we move to the bottom of the ninth. Isringhausen will be asked to close this one out. Izzy is 20 of 24. The save category, he has worked more than 1 inning in 4 of his 20 saves. He won't have to do that here tonight. Last night, it was his 20th save with a perfect 10th inning. 2 strikeouts last night. The velocity was up. It looked like the Izzy of old that we saw at least earlier in the first half of the season.
And so let's see if he can do it back-to-back and a day game after a night game. So a little shorter turnaround.
And he'll be tested here with Ryan Klesko to lead things off. Then Gant and Buchanan. Klesko today has struck out, grounded out twice, 0 for 3.
There's a save situation. We got Mike Matthews thrown in the bullpen in case he is needed.
First pitch from Isringhausen. 96 against Izzy. 5 for 11. Of course, Isringhausen 75 saves in slightly over 2 seasons with Oakland. 4th all-time on the A's list. Breaking ball off the plate. And a foul ball. No balls and 2 strikes. Izzy came a long way to be a closer. Was actually an outfielder at Lewis and Clark Community College. Just outside of St. Louis. 44th round selection back in 1991 by the Mets.
One of those guys that apparently the Mets or scouts went to see one of his teammates, and somebody was astute enough to walk away talking about Isringhausen.
And he's part of that trio, Paul Wilson and Bill Pulsifer and Isringhausen in New York.
They were going to be the next coming.
That's right. Here's the 0-2. Little tapper right side. Tino. The flip. Izzy's there. 2 outs away from Bud Smith's first victory this season. Good start for Isringhausen.
Getting that first man, especially a Nemes for you, is huge. And tricky little play here. Nice little flip. Get that bag right ahead of the runner. So good concentration. Just my guess, but I would say Jason has had a lot of success against Ron Gant. Just my guess.
Any reasons why?
Well, I mean, because I think Ron, well, 3 for 10 with 2 home runs. That is surprising to me. I think Ron doesn't want any part of the velocity. Has a tendency to pull away from a lot of right-handed pitchers. He likes left-handed pitchers more because they predominantly keep the ball away from him. Or, you know, a left-handed breaking ball is coming into him and he pulls off. It's a slider call, but he calls it a cutter.
Right down the middle. It's 0-2.
It looks more like a slider, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And that's a pitch that I think that you see how Gant's knees buckle, pulling off the pitch. He just absolutely has to make a mistake with it for Ron to hit it hard.
Breaking ball struck him out on the outside corner. 2 up and 2 down. And Izzy is an out away from save number 21, which would tie him with Trevor Hoffman.
There's a big breaking ball, the slower curveball variety. Even that one wasn't real crisp, but he doesn't want any part of it.
Eric Gagne leads the league in saves. Los Angeles closer with 32. He's tied with John Smoltz of Atlanta. Mike Williams has 27 for Pittsburgh. Danny Graves 26 for Cincinnati. Here's Buchanan. 97 from Izzy, misses up and away.
Last ball and away. That's the first ball that he has thrown of his first 7 pitches. That'll make Jeff Kramer happy. He's out here on a lot of trips.
Overpowered there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Jeff Kramer is a social worker, but he's always usually travels with that Cub fan tidbit. Comes the curveball.
1 pitch in the dirt. 2-1. Isringhausen was actually offered more money by the Texas Rangers, but chose St. Louis after meeting with Tony La Russa.
Well, I think he also liked the taste of winning and knew that you weren't going to win with the Texas Rangers, so coming home and having a chance for postseason, a lot more desirable.
Buchanan into deep right field. Robinson there. Backing up. He has it, and the Cardinals take 2 of 3. Isringhausen the save, and the first victory this season for Bud Smith. 4-1 our final.
Bud Smith deserved this with 7 shutout innings, and the Cardinals continue to win series, and that's most important.
It's off to Los Angeles. The Cardinals start the second half winning 2 of 3 against San Diego. Back to wrap it up in a moment. Cardinals start the second half by taking 2 of 3 against the San Diego Padres. The final here this afternoon, 4-1. Let's turn to our play of the game, brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. Well, Bud Smith was sharp here today. He goes 7 innings, 90 pitches he threw, and he picks up his first victory of the season. Bud Smith, a big win today, and the Cardinals now see him go to 1-5, and they win this one 4-1. For Al Rabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin and our Bud Sports crew. We say so long. Our next telecast Wednesday night from Busch at 5:30 with the Giants in town. So long.